Hi everyone, Zach from Homestead here. We just dropped a new book review about Smart Brevity. It's called Cut the Bull. That kind of details my thoughts and my rating of the book. Right off the bat, it was an 8 out of 10 for me. Great book. It was pretty interesting though as a read because it's really focused on how we consume information, and then it's teaching us to kind of respect everyone's time. You know, in this day and age with social media and podcasts and everything, everybody consumes information very quickly. Things can be created and sent out very quickly. This book was created as a productive communication handbook by the co-creators of Axios and Politico, Jim Vandehei, Mike Allen, and Roy Schwartz. I use it now as a quick reference guide in terms of my work trying to get information to people. It costs about $27. It was about 220 pages. If you read slow like me, it takes you about 2 hours. I actually just bought it on Amazon. So I have a link in the description of this podcast that you can go to. Even on our website, herdandhomestead.com, you'll see the blog article there that has links to it as well, if it's easier for you to go that way. But just kind of want to give you a little bit of a background or an overview of the book, just to kind of entice you maybe a bit more into reading it. I really liked it, as I've said previously. And one of the big things that they talk about is ingesting information in quick bite-sized chunks. We, as people now in the modern times, we don't like to read massive paragraphs and just read on and on and on. We want to see bullet points. We want to see 1-2 sentences that says, hey, this is what you need to know. And that's why it's respecting your time, because it's not filler and all this, BS stuff. It is productive and efficient. This is what you need to know. And now we'll move on and you can do what you need to do with your time. Because nowadays our time is very important to us. We can't just give it to anything. It has to be meaningful to us. So one thing I really liked about Smart Brevity as well is they provide a lot of excellent examples of it being used day to day. One of the biggest things that they did on there was called the President's Daily Brief. Apparently, I didn't know this, but it's apparently almost like a pseudo newsletter for the President of the United States. The CIA will have these daily meetings with the President, and they'll prepare this President's Daily Brief so that the President knows what important information is going to be going on during the day. He can tackle and decide what's the best thing to tackle at that moment or first. It also really doesn't pull any punches when it talks about how we are getting our information. If you're like me, they call us eye skimmers. So when I get an email at work, or when I'm reading, a synopsis or anything like that, right? I'm looking at it and my eyes are just going down the page. I'm not really reading every single word. I'm looking for, what is the gist of what's happening? So Smart Brevity talks about the ability to capture these eye skimmers, because most of us just scan things very quickly. And so it talks about how we use bold words and how we can kind of utilize larger font sizes to really capture people's attention. None of us are good enough to write where nobody will be eye skimmers, but if we can tailor our writing because we know that eye skimmers are going to be going through it, we can get our information to them better because we're making it easier for eye skimmers to get that information. And they like that too. If you're an eye skimmer, you like that because it's not so hard to gather information and it's not bogging you down, right? We're just putting it right in front of your face. Another little tip that they talked about was, they had a whole chapter on it, was meetings and how we can shorten the length of meetings and make them more productive. A few tips that they talked about was shortening meeting times. Most people, especially me, before reading this book, if I had to have a meeting at work and I was setting it up, it's a 30-minute meeting. I did 30 minutes and send it. Or if it's a longer meeting, it could be an hour, it could be an hour and a half. I don't know if I've ever set up a meeting for an hour and a half, but I guess technically you could. But what they're saying is shorten that meeting time. If you think it's going to take 30 minutes, then it probably could only take 20 minutes, and you're giving back 10 minutes to people's days. And then another point that they talk about is creating specific objectives and creating an agenda that you share at least a day before. So everybody's already briefed by the time they get to the meeting. So there's no, okay, let's get everyone caught up to speed. Everyone's already caught up to speed. Now let's perform, right? Let's get productive and actually get this done. And then they also say after that, when the meeting starts, tell everyone, this is why the meeting matters. This is why we're having it. And then what specific decisions need to be made in this meeting. And an important thing about that is when we talk about specific decisions or having maybe follow-up tasks that need to be done, we need to assign ownership as well. Bob, Sue, this is on you. You need to do this. When we're done with this meeting, Sue, I need you to go and research this topic so that when you come back, you're able to present that to me so we can be efficient, and productive. Keep it moving forward. And then at the end of the meeting, summarize the takeaways and then send a follow-up email, just making sure everybody realizes who's owning what and what the deadlines are supposed to be. I don't know how many meetings I've come out of where you walk out the door and, during the meeting you say, oh yeah, I got to do this and this and this. And we write them down, maybe sometimes you don't. But when we leave, for whatever reason, our minds just go. Maybe you need to go get some coffee. A lot of the times when I'm done with meetings, I'm running to go grab another coffee. And then, oh, by the way, Bob is in the lunchroom there. And then we start talking. And then by the time I get and sit down back at my desk, I go, okay, what was I supposed to do? So I guess that's another important tip too. You don't write stuff down, maybe try and write that down. But this follow-up email should really help in pretty much all situations. In my work, in my career, a big thing that we do is request items, request people to give us things. Sending a follow-up email is super important because my job and the ability for me to perform my job hinges on the requests getting to me. And so if they forget, that can throw deadlines back very far. For me, it's always been very important to set those deadlines, assign ownership, and then make sure we're summarizing takeaways in a follow-up email. And that's what Smart Brevity has talked about and what I'm trying to do in my daily life now, in my career. Now, of course, with anything, there are points that I disagree with in the book. You can say it's an 8 out of 10, but really there are some things that I think fall flat a little bit. One of the biggest things is they talk about newsletters. Now, Herd and Homestead, I think we should do a newsletter. I think it would be beneficial to us, but I think as a normal person, either in my career or just a normal person that's not running a business, newsletters, nobody's going to run a newsletter, right? Businesses run newsletters, but normal people don't. And the book Smart Brevity really talks about newsletters. They think it's the pinnacle of all communication with people, but I think that falls flat on general people that are looking to be productive. You come to Herd and Homestead, it's because you want to be productive. You want to take some of that time back in your life to be able to put it towards more productive activities and just be more efficient in life in general. And I don't think writing a newsletter is going to do that for you. So I think from a business perspective, it does make sense. Newsletters seem to be a really good tool and I think would help a lot of people. That being said, on our site, herdandhomestead.com, we have a newsletter. It's called Check the Box, and it is straight to your box every week with new tips and tricks to stay productive. And right now, if you download it and subscribe to Check the Box, then you will get a free undated calendar that you can use to start being productive. A calendar, a planner. It just automatically goes right to your email when you put it in, and it's great. It's great. Taylor designed it. We use it. Her and I use it all the time, and we're kind of still in the works of making a few different planners right now, but Taylor has been working like mad on a new planner that so far looks amazing, and I think you guys are going to really love it. But it's not out yet. We'll have more information on that when it is. We're getting really close, really close. The last part of Smart Brevity that I didn't really enjoy was emojis. They really like emojis, which I guess for some people, maybe younger generation, really enjoy. I don't know, but to me it feels very unprofessional. It just feels really inappropriate for formal professional writing. However, I did think of one thing, and they had talked about it a little bit, but using it as a branding symbol on a newsletter, like an email newsletter, or on any reoccurring email that you might have, I think it can serve a purpose. One of the things that they talk about is Morning Brew, which is a newsletter. They have a bunch of different newsletters, but there's a smart tech newsletter, but there's just the regular Morning Brew newsletter as well. And every single one of their emails that they send out has an emoji, and the Morning Brew is a coffee emoji. And so it's just kind of, when it hits your inbox and you see that emoji, it just kind of breaks it out, right? It's unique. And then you start to associate that as a branding symbol of the email. So when you go to your email in the morning and you look at it and you see that coffee icon, you know that's a Morning Brew newsletter. And so you start to kind of look forward to it and expect that. I think that was pretty interesting as a topic for emojis. I don't really know how I feel about using them anywhere else, but I do like that. So I guess the bottom line for Smart Brevity, as I said, it was an 8 out of 10 on my scale. I thought it was a great read. I recommend it. The other thing is too, I really keep it as kind of on my desk just to look back at things. So if I'm making a presentation at work, I can pull up the chapter on presentations and I can just refresh my knowledge. So I really use it as a guidebook a lot of the times, and hopefully eventually it all kind of sinks in my writing and everything will get better and better. But just being able to have it there next to me has been really good. It's been really nice. So yeah, I really enjoyed reading Smart Brevity. Again, they do a great job, and to me it's just really a way to show us how to do less and say more every time that we communicate, whether that's talking, writing, anything really. And so if you want to go and read it more, if you want to kind of see what I'm talking about, again, you can pick it up on Amazon. There's a link in the description of this video, and then as well as on the review that we did on HerdandHomestead.com. We also have a ton of other articles up there right now. Two of the recent ones were surprising benefits of journaling, and then overcoming that post-holiday slump when we're returning to work, which again are huge topics for staying productive and productivity. All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap on another episode of Herding the Homestead. Check out more information on our small business, Herd and Homestead, in the link below. And remember, our goal is to simplify your life so you can spend more time with those you love the most. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening.